What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Ranger Central, and today we are going to talk about the news that came out earlier today. I know I'm late, but I've been busy all day, as the New York Rangers have waived Tyler Pitlick, and I'm just going to give my brief thoughts. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to talk about here. I might talk about the winning streak a bit. I don't know where I'm going to go with this, but you guys know me. I'm able to ramble for a while, so before we jump into everything, please be sure to leave a like on the video if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. We are so close to 2K subs. Let's do it before the Stadium Series game. I'd appreciate if we could. And yeah, turn on your notifications too so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. But we are going to talk about this because it's very unfortunate, honestly, but also fortunate in a way. The reason why I say that it's fortunate in a way is because the emergence of Will Cooley and Adam Edstrom has really kind of pushed the Rangers to move some of these guys and move on from it. Because going into the year, we were talking about Nick Bonino, Tyler Pitlick, and then even maybe an Alex Belzile or a Riley Nash, guys like that, potentially having to play a significant role, being, you know, the 13th forward potentially and battling it out there. And then Will Cooley, we know that he's had just an unbelievable rookie season, and it sucks that, you know, a guy like him won't be considered for the Calder just because he doesn't put up enough points. And I hope he at least gets a vote. Like, I'm not asking for him to win it. Obviously, I'm not saying he deserves to win it over guys that are doing what they do, like a Connor Bedard or a guy like Brock Faber, guys like that. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of rookies, and I know people are going to comment that I didn't name certain rookies, but I understand he's not doing anything to that magnitude. But I do love the way that he's played, obviously, and I just hope he gets, even if it's a fifth place vote, let me see him get on the ballot, just in terms of a vote. But regardless, I'm not going to ramble about that. With Will Cooley, though, he has just been unbelievable. We know it, and he's been very productive. I mean, I'm pretty sure he still has more 5v5 goals than Mika Zibanejad had on the year, which is just, you know, kind of crazy to say. But yes, 16 points in 53 games played, and that's kind of what we were hoping Tyler Pitlick would give at the end of the year, is a 16-point season, because he did it last year. But in 34 games played, he has 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points, and that goal was in November. I mean, it's been a long time here, and he hasn't even really been providing much in terms of either side of the puck, and that's something that I talked about ad nauseum with this team, how it was just infuriating how the bottom six was not giving good enough play. And then a guy like Adam Edstrom comes in too, makes his debut, looked great in it, and then we didn't see him again for the longest time, got an injury as well, and now it looks like he won that spot. But it is interesting to see that Rempe was also sent down, so the Rangers now have 12 forwards on the roster where they had 14 not even 24 hours ago. So it's interesting to see if they're going to go out and either make a trade, or if this is just to accrue cap space, and then Jake Lecision will be called up tomorrow or someone like that. Or I'm hoping Belzile, but remains to be seen. And then another guy that kind of pushed Pitlick out of the lineup too, and Bonino as well, where both these guys have got waived. And then Bonino, of course, his contract terminated, is a guy like Johnny Brzezinski, who has came up and just been unbelievable for this team. The captain of the Wolfpack comes up, and that third line has been the Rangers' best line, arguably, throughout this recent stretch since they formed it with Cooley, Brodzinski, and Kakko. And now it's raising the question, does this team even need to acquire 3C? I don't know. I'd still like a bottom six center, and I'd like Gaudreau pushed out of the lineup if that's possible. And I get that people are going to say they're not going to sit him when he's making 3.6. It's a bad look. But put what the best product is out there on the ice. Like, don't put guys out there just because of their contract. I'm tired of stuff like that. You know, if he has to come back into the lineup and he plays well, then that's one thing. But I think that they should go out and get another center for the bottom six, that it could interchange on the 3C or 4C spot with Brodzinski, because if there needs to be a shakeup, then you can make a little change there. And then you're rocking there. Like, I think that there's nothing wrong with going out and getting another bottom six center option. So then there's some more flexibility, and I'd imagine they're going to at least get some bottom six help, whether it's 1 or 2 forwards, because I don't know how comfortable the front office feels with Adam Edstrom. I don't have any info there, but I'd imagine that they are pretty comfortable with him for right now, or maybe they're trying to see what they have in the kid, see if he could be that guy versus giving up assets where they are pretty thin on draft capital, and then giving up more assets there to get a bottom six guy. And then that opens the flexibility up more to potentially trade and make a bigger splash where, you know, all of a sudden they figure out the bottom six situation that we've been talking about for a couple months now. All of a sudden, that sorts itself out, and then they could make a bigger splash at the top line right wing position where they could afford to give up premium assets to go get Frank Vetrano or bring back Buchnevich, go bring back Tarasenko. I know I'm naming guys to bring back, but, get Jordan Eberle maybe, just a guy like that. All of a sudden, that gives them the flexibility because they don't have to give up extra assets to help out the bottom six. I'd still like them to get a 13th rotational forward, but regardless, at least you're figuring out the situation here, and it gives this team more flexibility in terms of what they could do at the deadline with going out and giving up premium assets, or if they want to give up premium assets for a defenseman, because Gustafson's been a little bit shaky lately himself, and then maybe you push him to the 7th defenseman, which would not be a bad 7th defenseman at all to have. Then all of a sudden, this team's starting to get things going a bit. The main thing, obviously, still, too, is that Zibanejad does need to get going 5v5. I don't think that's a secret, and we've been talking about it ad nauseum. He just needs to get going. He needs to get going, and that's really still, in my opinion, the biggest factor, especially if Igor does start to bounce back. The biggest factor is Zibanejad getting going at 5v5, because if he does, that's where this team's really going to take the step forward that we need to see them take. I know they're on a 5-game winning streak, but let's be frank here. Come the playoffs and in a 7-game set, if Zibanejad's not playing like a number one center, it's going to be tough for the Rangers to get 16 wins in the playoffs. And we continue to talk about it, but it's just the truth. And then the power play still needs to sort itself out. So there are some things that still need to be sorted out here. But, as much as I was very pissed off in January and December, as critical I've been on this team, at least there's been flashes recently of potentially, a glimpse of what would be better for this team going forward. I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this here, but you get the point where there still needs to be some steps forward from within. Chris Kreider still needs to be better at 5v5 too. Adam Fox, I'd like him to be more of a threat in terms of the power play situation there. And that just goes for everyone on the power play. They need to start shooting. Somehow the units yesterday were far worse though, because at least the units before they changed it was getting possession. They weren't even getting possession yesterday when they changed up the power play units on the first power play. The second one did a bit, but it somehow got worse. Then there needs to be the shooting threat. We know there needs to be the shooting threat. The second line, as good as they've been, we need to see them bring a defensive effort. They have as of recently, but we still need to see it more on a consistent basis in terms of this team as a whole. But they're getting good play from the middle six. It just really, that first line that needs to get going. I wonder what's going to happen with Blake Wheeler going forward, if, maybe he's the 13th forward, which I'd rather that personally than them rocking with what they have right now, where Blake Wheeler's on the top line. I still don't feel comfortable going into a 7-game series personally with Blake Wheeler playing good minutes, or just playing minutes for this team in general. I don't view him as a good 4th line option. Maybe that's kind of the old school feel in my head, but I just view the other way. Just view the way 4th lines play along the league, or just amongst the league in general, and I don't view Blake Wheeler being on the 4th line as an effective piece there in terms of what that provides, but maybe that's just me. But with Tyler Pitlick, just because that's the whole point of the video, it's kind of weird because, that was one of the guys that I didn't hate the signing, but I didn't love it because it is kind of a red flag that he's been on a lot of different teams throughout his tenure and or his career, I should say, not his tenure, but I was going to say tenure-wise that he's pretty much had a similar stint in destinations with teams than as Gerard Gallant has in 10 years as a coach. So that is another problem right there. And, he wasn't expected to bring much here, but it's kind of been a good situation that he's pushed out because of the emergence of certain guys. But let's not act like he played great here, played good. He had a couple good games here, but I was hoping for more consistent play from him, even though it was a cheap signing. I still figured maybe they'd get some better play from him, and they just didn't really get that from Tyler Pitlick, and it's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm sure a team will claim him because there is always teams desperate for depth, and I know no one took Bonino, but I feel like Pitlick's better than Bonino still. I mean, I stand by that, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets claimed by a certain team, but I wish him the best. It's nothing personal against him, obviously, but it just kind of is the nature of where we are. But I'm just curious now what's going to happen come the trade deadline and just come the following days here. Like, is this going to be a forward call up, or are they going to go out and make a trade sometime soon? I would like them to make a trade, but I don't know if they're going to. But yeah, because Rempe got sent down, Pitlick now waived. I don't know, but at least there's like the bottom six is shaping out, and at least next year there might be more clarity with the bottom six as well. Like next year, Will Cooley's still under that contract. You have Adam Edstrom here under that contract next year. Rempe might win a roster spot next year. The fact that he already got a call up next year, or call up this year rather, maybe he gets one next year. Brett Berard is still knocking on the door. He has 2 years after this one on his ELC. I don't think McConnell Barker's going to be ready anytime soon, but there's more clarity. And then Belzeal's still here. Nash is still here. And then Sikora maybe could push his way onto the roster next year. Korzak's around in the pipeline as well. There's a lot of options for this bottom six where next year they won't have to maybe do this type of thing with Pitlick and Benino where, they might do it just to bring in some competition and veteran presence, but they don't have to go out and do it like they did this year, because now it's looking like guys are pushing, and that's huge. That's very huge, because this team has, I think, $15 million in cap this upcoming offseason, and some of that will be ate by just guys that they already have, where they don't have to overpay for the bottom six, and then all of a sudden, if they move Goudreau, they can maybe make a big splash up in the top six. I shouldn't be thinking ahead to the offseason, but my brain just works in weird ways, so that's just where my headspace is at. But yeah, like I like in terms of the bottom six where things could get going and how things could shift up here versus where we were even a month ago, where I felt more doom and gloom with this bottom six. But again, there still needs to be improvements from within in the top six. There's still, specifically the first line. I'm not worried about the second line as much, but obviously the first line, we still need to see improvement there. And then I still think the blue line needs a piece or two. I don't feel comfortable with the way Miller and Trouba have played lately. I know that they had a solid game last night, but I would still like to see them going forward play a lot better. And if not, they need to be broken up. But I think I'm a broken record there. And again, I mean, it's just funny that Jonathan Quick was the signing that got the most hate. And now two of the guys got waived. Gustafson might be the seventh defenseman rolling into the playoffs. And then Blake Wheeler might get cut, traded, waived, whatever it might be, come the postseason as well. And then Quick, the guy that we all just were bashing that signing, now all of a sudden that might be the sign that we look at as the best one. And a lot of that's credit to Benoit Allaire, not to take away anything from Drury, but Benoit Allaire, we've seen it before. He made Pavlik a serviceable backup goaltender before. He had Georgiev come up and be a good backup, and I know now he's a starter elsewhere, but Cam Talbot, we've just seen it time and time again. I could go on with how much of a genius Benoit Allaire is. We even saw Louis Domingue come up for a game, but I digress. We've seen it enough from Benoit Allaire where, yeah, this is just what it is with them, and now we're accustomed to it. But yeah, I'm just curious now where they go. They're projected with $4.3 million in cap space come the deadline, but that also still has Pitlick on the roster. And I think, Rempe has him listed, sent down, but now Pitlick being off is going to help them accrue a little more cap space. Not much, but it will help them accrue a bit at the very least. But we'll see what happens here, because now they're not dipping into the LTIR pool. But we'll see what happens here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you guys what you're thinking about all this, and hear what you guys think in terms of the trade deadline. Are you guys feeling better than you were a month or two ago? I am personally not. I'm not feeling 1,000% better, because I still want to see improvements from Zibanejad and Kreider personally. Because to me, at least you're getting another line though going. Like, that's where my optimism's feeling better, and then the fourth line even's giving you better play. I still want to see better play from the first line. Obviously, the power play needs to be better. There needs to be consistency from the blue line, but I'm feeling better than I was definitely a month or two ago, where I was just losing my damn mind watching them, quite frankly. But let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave a like if you haven't already. Again, subscribe. We're so close to 2K subs. I'd appreciate it. And I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me on the channel, especially this season, where it's really, really taken off. So I appreciate all of you guys. And yeah, tomorrow recap against no, not tomorrow. Thursday's the recap against Montreal. Maybe there will be a video tomorrow or the next day. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Rangers.